Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the first To The T podcast of the new year. Joined, of course, as always, we are here with the Chief Revenue Officer of GolfBack, Bryce Voisin, and of course, GolfBack and GreatLIFE Golf CEO and President John Brown. Gentlemen, Happy New Year. I know we're well into it at this point, but how's the new year treating you? Has it exceeded expectations? Is it a letdown? Bryce, how are you feeling about the new year?
Year's flying by. I can't believe it's already February. It feels like January came and went really fast. I had the PGA show in January, have a lot going on, so it's been really good.
Yeah, the PGA show was a great show for GolfBack. We had a lot of interest in the booth. The booth looked great. You guys did a fantastic job. Really excited about our prospects there. Something about shaking hands with 30,000 people day one sent me home with the flu. Did you get the flu?
I didn't. I avoided it this year, but it seems like every year it gets somebody.
January is brutal, isn't it?
Yeah.
January is travel, sickness, and cold weather in Pennsylvania. That's it. So we're looking forward to getting the year rolling. So we're starting in February, Jordan.
Fair enough. Well, we had the absolute pleasure of getting some warm weather recently at Orange Lake, one of the GreatLIFE golf properties in Orlando. It's a beautiful resort, but it's also got 4 great golf courses. And we got the pleasure to shoot some video there, but also work with U.S. Open champion, 3-time Ryder Cup winner, Graeme McDowell. Bryce, you've known him for years. John, you got a chance to meet him. How would you guys say, first and foremost, how did this come about in the first place, and what was the experience like?
Yeah, I mean, I think this all came together because our goal is to package a 5-minute video about GolfBack, and we thought that introducing somebody like Graeme would be a good way to help introduce the product line. And in person, fantastic. I mean, I couldn't have had a better day. He was open, genuine, authentic. I loved his answers. Still a great player. I mean, we had a golf match with him after the interview, and he still can really move that golf ball. And what's amazing is as we did the deep dive into the interview is just how much he's accomplished from a playing standpoint. And then obviously when you play that well, it provides business opportunities, which he's obviously moved into that stage of his life as well. So it was a really interesting interview, and I was excited to do it. We did it at Orange Lake, one of our resorts, which I thought showcased extremely well. Unlike pretty much January throughout, the Southeast, which was awful weather, we had a day in December which was 75 degrees, sunny, beautiful, and it was perfect.
Well, the LIV golf season is about to kick off here. The first tournament in Saudi Arabia. Bryce, you just filled me in under the lights, no less. So that should be a spectacle, to say the least. Have you guys been Have you been keeping up with the LIV? Obviously, you keep up with Graeme, and I definitely will now, even more so. But what do you expect coming into the LIV season that kicks off here on Thursday?
Yeah, I think it'll be a good season. They've had one big off-season signing. That was Tom McKibben, which is a really, really good European player coming up. Young player. And he's on Rom's team. Yep. So they're going to be, I would say, tough to beat. But yeah, I'm excited for the season. I think kicking off the season in Saudi under the lights will be cool to watch. And also from a time zone perspective, we'll actually we won't have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever to watch it. So I think that's a cool idea.
Rory just won at Pebble Beach on the PGA Tour, right? We've got TGL in full stride, and we just came out of the Rory Tiger match, which came right down to the end and was competitive. We've got LIV Golf starting. A lot of excitement around professional golf in general. Obviously, with the interview with Graeme, it was great to get to know him a little bit. We're obviously going to be paying attention to Graeme throughout the year and Team Smash and seeing if they can bounce back a little stronger than last year. And really looking forward to starting that season and seeing what everybody can produce. Pretty cool. It's under the lights, though. First event.
It is.
Yeah.
All that you said, John, and also season 3 of Full Swing has been announced on Netflix as well. So a lot is going on in mainstream golf. Very excited about it. So without any further ado, let's get into our exclusive interview with Graeme McDowell on site at Orange Lake.
I'm Bryce Voisin, Chief Revenue Officer at GolfBack. I'm joined by John Brown, Chief Executive Officer at GolfBack and GreatLIFE Golf, and Graeme McDowell, 16-time worldwide winner, 2010 U.S. Open champion at Pebble Beach, 3-time Ryder Cup winner. Thanks for joining us, Graeme.
Oh, I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
We're here at Orange Lake Resort today, and the course is open for business, and we're looking forward to hitting the course later. Graeme, tell us about growing up in Northern Ireland and being introduced to the game of golf.
Yeah, I mean, I was very fortunate to grow up in a town like Portrush, one of the top 50 golf courses in the world. The skies didn't look like this very often. I guess that's why I ended up in Florida. But, the game of golf was very accessible in Ireland. The game was cheap and accessible. I think, my family, didn't have a ton of cash. I guess if my dad took it up late in life, and thankfully the game was, like I say, cheap and easy to kind of access, and kids were welcomed, and we had a great junior program in Portrush, and a bunch of kids running around all summer long. It was a great, healthy lifestyle, healthy upbringing, and like I say, fortunate to grow up with that level of golf course on my doorstep. Fell in love with the game quickly, and kind of moved through the levels, and looking back, it's been a crazy journey.
Graeme, you have a very unique golf swing, identifiable, obviously yours. Tell us about the evolution of the golf swing.
Yeah, it's funny, obviously I get that little bowed left wrist. I do have a video of me, I think I'm about 10 years old, and sure enough, that bowed left wrist's there. I think probably growing up in the wind, kind of learning how to hit the low ball, how to hit the low hook. Definitely spent many years trying to fight that. And it's funny, 25, 30 years later, we look at, some of the best players in the world, and they love this bowed left wrist. I always saw it as a huge negative, something I always fought. But then you look at a guy like Brooks Koepka, you look at Dustin Johnson, there's a lot of coaches that really believe that move's a really solid move, because, it keeps the club face very square for a long time, and then you can just rip it left, and theoretically the ball shouldn't go too far left. But, it was something in my golfing DNA from a very young age. And like I say, I think it was environmental, growing up in the wind and trying to keep that ball low.
Makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. Growing up in Northern Ireland, choosing to play golf at UAB in Birmingham, Alabama, how did that come about? I'm sure that was a rather large change for you.
For sure. I'd never been to the States before. I always tell people, I didn't know anything about college golf. I didn't know D1 from junior college. And I really didn't know Alabama from Alaska, if I'm being honest. All I knew was I saw one of those Ping Hoofer college golf bags, when I was about 16, and I was like, I need one of those. And a couple of my friends, they went to the University of Toledo. Ricky Elliott, who actually now caddies for Brooks Koepka, he was one of those guys I looked up to. And eventually, when it got time for me graduating high school, Toledo had no scholarship cash left, so I wasn't able to go. Went to university for a year in Ireland, and then I got the call about halfway through that year from the coach at UAB, Alan Kaufman, and he asked me to come out on a recruiting visit, and I already knew. I knew before I even got there. I knew before I got on that plane that that's what I wanted to do. And looking back, it was one of those crazy kind of turning points in life, those inflection points where I knew that I was out there practicing in weather like this. The guys in Ireland that I was trying to beat, I knew for the first time in my life that I had a competitive advantage. And, I spent my first year at UAB, went home that summer. I pretty much won everything. Got myself in the Walker Cup team. And it was really a big turning point in my life. I was a good player, but I wasn't great. I was number one ranked college player, in D1 golf my final year. I turned pro when I was ready to go. UAB was a big turning point in my life.
So Toledo didn't have space for you. So when I read this next question, so as a senior, you alluded to it in college. You won 6 out of 12 collegiate events. You won the Haskins Award, given to the most outstanding collegiate golfer. That's pretty impressive. Obviously, at that point, you probably had an idea that professional golf might be in your future, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think I didn't grow up with a lot of pro golf exposure. It was interesting. I grew up with a lot of high-level amateur golf exposure. But then, just organically and naturally, like you say, one day, the next step was pro golf. I had a great last year at UAB. I played in the Walker Cup team. And, organically, I was ready to go. I went back to the European Tour because I felt like I could get more starts. I had a little bit more notoriety back there. And, got lucky. I won one of my first starts on the European Tour, and I was off to the races, and it's been a great journey.
Absolutely.
Everyone remembers the 2010 U.S. Open at Pebble, beating the likes of Tiger, Bill, Ernie Els. But I feel like people forget that in 2012 at the Olympic Club, the U.S. Open, you were, right in the hunt there. Webb Simpson eventually pulling away. Tell us a little bit about that.
Tied for the lead, right? Going into the last day?
Yeah, I was in the last group of the U.S. Open that summer, last group of the British Open as well on Sunday. 2012 was probably my most solid year in the majors. I think I was 12th at Augusta, like you say, runner-up at the U.S. Open, 5th at the Open, and top 20 at the PGA Championship. So, 12 was a really good body of work for me that year. And, I do remember a lot about that last round of the Olympic Club. I look back and Furyk, I was playing with Furyk in the last round, and he kind of kicked off, and he got 2 or 3 ahead of me on the back 9, and I felt like he was a guy to beat, and obviously Webb Simpson kind of, we didn't even see him coming, but I do remember that last round for some pretty bad bunker play. There was 2 or 3 trap shots that you always say, what shot would you want back? And there was a easy bunker shot. I missed the green, the par 3, about the 14th. Missed it in the right trap, playing green to work with, and I had a couple of really bad trap shots, and that's definitely a round that I look at. I wish I could have taken it back because I think I could have, on a different day won that U.S. Open. But Webb obviously took care of business, and he's been a good friend over the years. That's a round I'd like back.
So Webb got you at the U.S. Open in 2012, but you actually played a playoff against him later in the season at the Heritage at Harbour Town, and you beat him in the playoff. Did you really want to beat him in that playoff?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly felt like I was owed one from Webb. Having won that U.S. Open, the Olympic, super windy day at Hilton Head. I think I shot 68 in the last round. It was a good Irish day. It was cold. It was windy. I think I came from 6 back. I think Charlie Hoffman was maybe leading. I can't remember, but I came from 6 back. I ended up 3-putting the last green, but it was blowing 25, 30. Webb and I ended the playoff, and I actually hit a really good second shot into that famous 18th hole at Harbour Town, which is such an iconic finishing hole, and managed to get one over on Webb. But I'd have switched them out for that U.S. Open though, for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
3 Ryder Cup wins: 2010, 2012, 2014. We obviously all remember the comeback at Medina, 2012. 2014, you were actually the first match out in singles against Jordan Spieth, grabbing very valuable first point. If I remember correctly, Spieth may have been 2 up at the turn, something like that.
It was a couple up early, yeah.
Yeah, came back on him.
Yeah, that was a fun one. The 4 Ryder Cups I've played, they're all special for different reasons. 08 was my rookie year. We got beat in Valhalla, but it was a big turning point in my career. It was the first time I'd really kind of jumped up onto the big stage and felt like I could handle myself. 10 was amazing. Last match against Mahan, all the pressure, just everyone there kind of getting it done, which was amazing. 12 was interesting, the greatest comeback nearly in Ryder Cup history. The only singles match I ever lost in the Ryder Cup was against Zach Johnson that day. So Medina was bittersweet. I still had an unbelievable time supporting my team and, being part of that comeback. And then into 14, like you said, I led the team off on Sunday, played Spieth. I think he was 3 up on me through 7 holes and managed to come back and win that match. And that was a proud moment that weekend. I went 3-0. I played 2 foursomes and 1 singles and, won all my matches. And, like I say, each of those Ryder Cup memories, they're, the greatest memories of my career. And they're all so special for different reasons. And I look back on those very fondly. So
in 2010, you scored the clinching Ryder Cup point. You were the match that scored the clinching Ryder Cup point. The euphoria around clinching that point, did you know, I'm assuming you did, that was the point that mattered? And just talk about, a golfer can strive to want to be in that position. It's impossible for things to really line up like that, but it did for you.
For sure. It was a really strange day. I was U.S. Open champion. I was one of the best players on the team for the first time in my Ryder Cup career. And I think we had a pretty healthy-ish lead going into the last day. And Montgomery was the captain, and he put me out last match. And I remember looking at the pairing sheet, and I was like, really? I'm going to miss all the fun. I'm going to miss all the fun. I figured the guys would play well and we'd win easily. And I would be at the back match and having no fun at all. But, the rule is you get your head down and you take care of your business. You don't leaderboard watch. You don't want to see any red up there and kind of start getting a little kind of jittery. And I was standing on the 10th green. I was lining this putt up. I think I was a couple up on Mahan at the time. And there was this huge leaderboard right down my line. And I couldn't help but kind of see it. And I could see all this red on the board. And I was like, things are not going the way Europe had expected here. And this match could be critical, And I started realizing it around the turn. 2 or 3 holes later, I was starting to get really nervous. I think I duffed a full 9-iron on the middle of the 14th fairway. Like, I was just so nervous. I got it up and down for the half, but I remember walking to the 15th tee, and I told my caddy, I'm like, I'm not sure I can do this, dude. Like, I'm so nervous, and he said something cliche to me, like, just keep doing what you're doing. And I was like, I'll tell you what, if you're so cool, I'll carry the bag in and you hit the shots, all right? But then, everyone starts coming back to your group, and you realize that, the match is on the line. And I managed to birdie 16, which was kind of one of the coolest birdies I ever made in my career. And that put me 2 up to 2 to play against Hunter. And, he laid this out over that little chip shot on 17, which made life easy for me. And it was a cool night. It was a cool celebration, and definitely one of those moments I look back on pretty proudly.
So you weren't the only one nervous.
No, exactly. And I think that's always one of the greatest things in golf. Sometimes you feel so small and you feel so nervous, you don't realize, you zoom out and you realize that, there's a lot of nervous people in the world doing, pretty important things every day. And golf is, golf is just one of those insignificant kind of things that we make into something that it's not sometimes.
Yeah, well.
In 2010, you went head-to-head with Tiger, the Chevron World Challenge, coming out on top. Talk a little bit about that. Not many go head-to-head with Tiger and come out on top. Yeah,
that was fun. It's amazing. 2010, it was just one of those years where putts went in. I wish every year could be like that. But yeah, it was pretty much last event of the season, and I played the last 36 holes with Tiger. I'd finished second in the tournament the previous year, and it was a golf course I liked. It was narrow. You had to drive it pretty straight. You made a ton of birdies. It was cool playing the last 36 with him. Had a 1-shot lead playing 17, and I made the only mistake I couldn't make there, which was fly the green, and I ended up making an unbelievable up and down for bogey. But him and I were tied up playing 18, and I hit it about 25 feet, and he stuffed one in there to about 3 feet, and he's going crazy, bog chaining it in the fairway. Crowd's going crazy because he hadn't won a golf tournament since, 09 was the fire hydrant episode, and he hadn't won a golf tournament since then. So everyone's like, Tiger's back. And sure enough, I walk onto 18 green and I make my 25-footer. It's just like bang. And everyone's like, what? What's going on? What's going on? Tiger makes his birdie, and we go back to the playoff. And, I hit the identical shot into the green, though, about 25 feet, same spot where I was in regulation. Tiger hits it at 12 feet, and I make my putt again, and he misses. I was like, wow. It was cool experience, obviously not too many events probably in that probably decade where I just turned pro where you beat Tiger Woods, because he was awfully good during that stretch. But it was obviously a cool moment to kind of go head to head with him down the stretch, and beat the GOAT. It's always nice.
When you beat the GOAT, does the GOAT ignore you or have respect for you? What does the GOAT do when you beat him like that? Because I know he doesn't like to lose, right?
Yeah, well, obviously no one likes to lose, but I always enjoyed playing with him. He was always incredibly sporting, and he was always a good guy to play with, and he was, obviously standing just watching him hit balls was, he just, the way he struck it was just different. I just felt like he was a different player from anybody else I'd ever seen. Just the way he struck the golf ball, the compression, the contact was, it was always cool to play with him, but he was always really sporting and really complimentary to play with. And, he was great. He was very sporting that day.
Okay, great. All right, I got one for you here. Okay. I don't know if you know this, but we got a question for you. Okay, who's the only player who's won a major, won the final point to secure a Ryder Cup, and beat Tiger Woods in a playoff? Do you know the answer to that?
Oh, I think I've done those 3 things.
Just you, though. Really? It's just you. There was one that was somewhat close. You probably can't guess the other one, but...
Well, Tiger didn't lose too many playoffs.
Nope.
I'd say his playoff record was pretty stellar.
It was. You actually named this player earlier today. Yeah, you did.
Furyk?
Nope. That's a good guess. Zach Johnson.
Zach Johnson.
Yeah. Zach Johnson, but he didn't clinch the final point of the Ryder Cup.
Got it. Yeah, I think he might have beat Tiger at the Chevron in a playoff as well, right?
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I played that year.
Well, looking back on your golf career, as we knew you had a great golf career, but when we actually look at Haskins Award winner, clinching the Ryder Cup point, winning the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach, beating Tiger in a playoff, it's pretty remarkable.
It's been a cool run, there's no doubt, and it's amazing. I guess I will sit down at some point and look back and go, it was a great career. It's amazing, your competitive edge. You're always like, could have, should have, would have. Could have done better, could have did this. We talked about the last round of the Olympic. There's many rounds that I look back and I would take them back. But, I always think to myself, if someone gave me another go, if they said, you can be 22 years old again and you're going to turn pro, would you like another go? I guess the answer would be no. To win 16 times around the world, having, achieved some really cool things. I realize now looking back how hard those things were to do and, how difficult it is to win. So I guess the answer is no, I wouldn't want another go. But like, again,
why would you?
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
And I had the same conversation with Martin Keimer, actually. He won twice, won a Players. I was like, would you give it another go?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's, you're incredibly fortunate, incredibly lucky to have done the things you've done. And you realize how hard it is, but you always look back and there's always the coulda, woulda, shoulda. I think that's the same in all walks of life. You always feel like you could have done better.
Yeah. Graeme, let's switch gears here. You graduated from the University of Birmingham with degrees in economics and engineering. You've built the GMAC Foundation with your wife, Kristen. You have involvement and ownership in restaurant chains Nona Blue and Grey Coast Whiskey. In addition to being a great player, you're actually a well-rounded business person as well. So love to talk to you a little bit about your business background. One thing that I've found pretty innovative is obviously LIV in general. One thing we find important at GolfBack is directly connecting with our customer. I see that at LIV all the time, every week. Can you talk about that a little?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as I move into my 4th season in LIV Golf, I think it's been interesting to watch a new product emerge within a game which, as we know, is steeped in tradition, 72-hole stroke play, the majors, the history. LIV Golf wanted to take something and create a new immersive experience, I feel like, for the fan, for the spectator in person, and obviously, the person that's at home watching on television, with technology overlaid, top tracer, obviously they wanted to create like that Formula One kind of like dashboard where you kind of watching the driver and you see all the data kind of coming up, and that's really kind of the goal that they're trying to achieve. And I feel like, when it comes to the music and the par 3 party holes and just trying to bring the fan a little bit more close to the action. I feel like too much in the game of golf do we kind of have the quiet please signs and kind of, pay money to come watch the greatest players in the world, but you got to stand still, put your cell phone away and not really have any fun, So I feel like LIV is trying to bring the customer closer. They're trying to have a more immersive experience. And kind of like you guys at GolfBack, the closer that you can bring your customer in to feel engaged with that business, it's good for the business and it's great for the customer and everyone wins.
What are your thoughts around data, understanding who your customers are? Obviously, you run a successful restaurant here in Orlando, and just your thoughts around knowing who your customer is and collecting their data and just how that interrelates to your business.
Yeah, I mean, I think, over the last decade, I mean, I'm sure as you guys know at GolfBack that, data is such a valuable currency nowadays, understanding who your customer is, like in the restaurant business, understanding, what they're going to order before they order it. Obviously, having your customer come in, know what they like to drink, really having that kind of engagement with the waiter and the customer, kind of feeling like that customer, is family and part of the business. And I think obviously, for you guys, that data is huge. And I know that GolfBack obviously allows the golf course, the golf club to own that data and understand their client and their customer, which is hugely valuable because, again, you create that engagement and that customer really feels like they're walking into an environment where they're known, they're understood, and they're going to get the best value for their money.
Yeah, great.
GMAC, from a player perspective, you've been what I think to be extremely marketable over the years. Can you talk a little bit about maybe how that serves you as far as endorsements and marketing go?
Yeah, I feel like I've been very fortunate there over the years. I enjoy doing things like this. I enjoy meeting people. I always enjoy the social side of the game of golf. I feel like, I can really very much draw the line between, competitive golf and kind of social golf where, you meet people, hang out. I mean, one of the beauties of the game of golf is being able to tee it up with anyone, anywhere in the world, any level. And there's not many sports where, people can play with the best players in the world and have a game and have fun and, maybe have a bet. And I feel like, I've enjoyed the corporate side of the game. I've been lucky to have some great partners over the years, RBC, MasterCard, BMW, partners like that. So, I'm very proud of kind of the way, I feel like that I've, been engaged with the business side of the game. It's something I enjoy. as I look forward to the next chapter in my career, hopefully I can play for a few more seasons. But, where we go next is going to be into the business world, into the media world, perhaps. And, I feel like those experiences and those relationships will stand me in good stead in the future.
One of the nice things about working in the golf business is that there is a connection to the game. And we're going to play today, actually, later today. And you don't know the stakes of the match, right? But why don't I lay the match out there for you? Uh-oh. See if you get, a little nervous, all right?
This sounds like trouble.
It's GolfBack versus Graeme.
Okay.
This is the match. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We're going to have 3 teams, 3-man teams. We're going to play a 3-man better ball against you.
Okay.
One team's going to play holes 1 through 3 and then holes 10 through 12. We're going to go all the way through. So you have 3 different matches against 9 players today, all connected to GolfBack, and we're looking to kick your butt. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I feel like there could be trouble brewing. For one of us, that's for sure.
Sure, I agree.
Don't know this golf course. I know some of the personnel involved here, so
yes, you do.
I could have my work cut out. Let's put it that way. So may have to spend a little bit of time on this range behind us before we go.
Yep.
Little top tracer range action.
Absolutely. That's only open for our players. Though.
Okay.
So,
Roger that.
Yeah, we'll meet you on the first tee. All right. So great. As an entrepreneur, now that you're moving into sort of the next phase of your business career, are there any components or applications that have made you a successful golfer that you view and connect to the business world?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think being personable, some of the businesses I've been involved in the last 10, 15 years, whether it be startups or restaurants, to me, it's a people-driven world. It's about relationships. It's about touching the customer, making them feel welcome. To me, it doesn't really matter what the concept is, what the innovation is, if it's not backed by great people, if it's not supported by, people that are really fully invested, 100% kind of committed to, what they're trying to create, what the narrative is. To me, that's the thing that I've seen over the years. To me, the team, the people that are driving products have to be, they have to, believe in the culture, invest in that culture, and help drive it from the inside out.
Great. One thing at GolfBack that we've really focused on is 4 core principles. It's owning our data, owning our lowest price, having that direct relationship with the customer, and owning 100% of the future online green and card fee revenue. Really important to us. The 4 core principles we've built our technology around. Do you have any core principles you built your golf game around?
Yeah, interesting question. I think for me, kind of growing up, my dad he wasn't really one of those pushy parents, but he was always kind of like, if we're going to do something, we're going to do it right. But if you don't want to do it, that's okay as well. We'll find something else to do. So when it came to golf, and I kind of feel like I parent the same way a little bit. My 8-year-old boy, he loves to play golf, but to me, it's like, if he wants to do it and it's something he loves, I just kind of want him to do it the right way and kind of, have the discipline to apply himself correctly. So, I guess I always used that throughout my career. I felt like, if I was going to do something, just to do it right. Also, just kind of when it comes to practicing, I feel like, it's easy to kind of focus on kind of like your strengths when, I think using data obviously to help, analyze kind of where my weaknesses are, try and make sure that I'm always kind of being, trying to get better. I just put an extra wedge in the bag the last 6 months, trying to get better from inside of 150 because I just felt like I wasn't accurate enough. So using data to try and help me, keep my game going to the next level. I think the beauty about the game of golf is you always feel like you can do better. You're always trying to get better. 25 years later out here on tour, and I still feel like I can still improve. So and then just finding balance in life, I suppose. Making sure that especially at this point in my life where I can find that kind of work-life balance. Got kids at home. Trying to be a good husband, good dad, but still find the time to give my game 100% as well, So trying to find that life balance, I think, is really, really important. And those are kind of the core values I try to live by.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, today has been an absolute pleasure for both of us. Really enjoyed it. We'll be pulling hard for you this year. We'd like to see you in the winner's circle, and I know you're working hard to get back there, and we're going to be pulling for you, but what a pleasure.
Appreciate it, boys. Thank you.
Thanks, Graham. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Bryce.
All right, gentlemen, great interview. Great job by everyone. So give us a little insight about what it was like to actually be out there with a pro golfer playing the match. Beautiful day at Orange Lake. Obviously, everyone who watched the interview saw the backdrop with the top tracer. Wonderful facility, great resort, great courses. So what was the match actually like? Give us some insight.
Well, we did a little recap on the 18th hole, which we're going to show shortly, which we'll talk about the results. Graeme was in neutral a little bit for part of the day, but then he put it into drive pretty quickly. And so we'll see the results here shortly, but really neat. Always cool to watch a tour player, strike the golf ball, chip, putt. I mean, they're just phenomenally talented. And he was having some fun banter with us and helping us read putts wrong sometimes, correctly sometimes. So it was a good day.
It was a fun match. The format I thought was cool, and I thought it was a fair format as well. And yeah, Graham's putter was a little cold early on, but it certainly warmed up on that back nine. And yeah, it was a good day.
Yep, absolutely.
A lot of fun. Shout out, of course, to the Orange Lake staff. The whole team there were very accommodating, helped us throughout the day, made it very easy. And again, the course looked amazing. And like I know that I sound like one of those old guys that just walks out on their porch and appreciates nature, but you couldn't have asked for a better day. It was pretty awesome. As the year progresses here, look forward to the start of the Live. Everything that you named about professional golf, it's a very exciting time. So we thank you both for your time. Thank you for a great experience. To John, the whole GreatLIFE staff, and the GolfBack staff. Truly awesome to be a part of. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys, it's time for the accountability portion of today's match. We did Graeme versus GolfBack, but before we get into that, Graeme, what'd you think of the course?
Really enjoyed the golf course. First time here for me. It's in great shape. The greens kind of caught me by surprise a little bit in the beginning. They were fast, and you had to stay on the right side of the hole. But no, you guys are doing a great job out here. Really enjoyed the track, and thanks for having me down. It was amazing.
We're really glad to have you here. So I think we'll go through the accountability portion now. And Team Politan played the first match, or the second match, let's go with, and 6 holes against Graeme. How did Team Politan do?
Yeah, we got spanked. Yeah, we got spanked pretty good. I've been watching Graeme play for most of his career, and I feel like the 6 holes he careered it against us, surprisingly. I've seen him watching. I've seen him.
He's done some.
Well, I was impressed though. It was all solid and it was all pin high.
I did show up against Group 2. That was a fact, and I apologize that I saved most of my best golf for you guys.
Yeah, I feel it.
It wasn't nothing personal. I promise, it was nothing personal.
And you guys were in the middle 3 holes of the 9s. My group, I'll go next. Team Brown, we were the last 3 holes of the 9s, and he played pretty good those last 6 holes, didn't he, PJ?
Oh yeah.
A lot of birdies.
You had to sit around for 6 holes though and watch it, So I mean, you were maybe a little stiff getting out of the cart after 6 holes. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I know this. I will never say anything bad about your putter again.
The putter,
that baby heated up.
It started off a little cold.
It did.
But I do feel bad about what had just happened behind us, because you hit probably potentially your shot of the day.
Yeah.
You've got 15 feet, maybe to half the match.
Yep.
And then I ruined the show.
I was going to tell my wife and kids about that putt that I rolled in, and you didn't help me out.
I did not help you out, but we know you were probably missing that putt right though.
Yeah, well, probably
because it was a tough read.
Well, because it was more than 3 feet mostly, but But we did have one success story.
It's quite the success.
Would you like to tell about the story, or should we have Bryce tell?
I think G-Mac should talk about it.
Well, I mean, what can I say about this guy? He got me cold.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Stuffs it on 1. I follow him into about 6 feet. I miss. Birdie, 1 down. What happened on 2? 2 was a par 5.
Par 5, I missed a short putt. But harsh.
Birdie. Partner made birdie. So if it wasn't one guy, it was the other guy.
Yeah.
I missed from 6 feet again. 3 wiggled the second. So like I say, this thing was let me down early. So I let them kind of get in front. And then I couldn't catch them. They were 4 under par for their 6 holes, and they gave me a little bit of a spanking.
Yeah, they did.
It was 1 loss and 2 victories, but the loss kind of stings. I gotta be honest.
I'm sure it does. You and Bryce have a bit of a history, and I'm sure it does.
It's gonna come back to haunt them here in the future.
I know it will.
It will come back.
So the tallies ended up. Bryce won his match 3 up.
3, yeah, they were.
PJ lost his match
3 down.
3 down.
And we lost ours 2 down, I believe. Unless you gave me that birdie putt after taking
I'm going to give that to you just because this is your show.
your show, to be in a tight one-up squeaker.
Yeah.
And I guess that keeps me kind of one up on the day as well. So I'll take it.
You take it.
Like I say, I really had a good time. I want to appreciate, big thanks to GolfBack for having me. Love what you guys are doing. Thanks for having me out to hang out with you.
Yeah, we were super happy to have you here today. You made the day great. Orange Lake, I thought the course played great today.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It's a great resort and a place people can come to. And thanks for your support in GolfBack, and best of luck this season.
Yeah, thank you. And continued support. Continued good luck to you guys. And these are great golf courses that you have, and I know that you do a great job for the owners and for the golf courses, and keep great people coming through here. So I'll be back to check this place out.
We'll take our beating. We'll take it. But thanks, buddy.
No, pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep,
thank you, man.
absolutely.
All the best.
Good job.
Thanks, Graham. Thanks, man.
Well done, buddy.
All right, that's it.
It's a wrap.
That's a wrap.